Ladies and gentlemen, for the first time since July 23rd of 2023 at the Kansas Speedway, the WRLA Pepsi Cup Series makes its return with probably one of the biggest preliminary races that we're ever going to have here before the Daytona 500, and that is the Clash right here at the LA Coliseum. This is going to be a big one here, ladies and gents, because this is the first time in a little over a year and a half, almost 2 years since we've gone racing. And on top of that, we have different cars. We have brand new race cars. And also, on top of that, a little bit of a different schedule, but also some new faces in familiar places, familiar faces in new places. There's so many changes and there's so many things to look forward to coming into the 2025 season, and it is going to be very, very exciting to say the least. So, here for tonight, we've got our heats and LCQs, which will determine the starting lineup for tomorrow night's clash, for tomorrow night's main event at the the LA Coliseum tomorrow night, which will be streamed live on Twitch. Pretty much all points races throughout the season will be live on exclusively Twitch, posted up the next day on YouTube. All of our qualifying sessions, on the other hand, will be held right here on YouTube. And just in case, for those that may not know exactly how the format is going to work here for determining who's going to start where in the clash and who's going to race their way in, well, pretty much how it's going to work is that there's 5 heats, top 4 from each heat make it on into the main event, and pretty much it's just whoever wins the heat will start first, winner of the second heat will start second, winner of the third heat starts third, fourth heat starts fourth, so on until you get all the way back to heat number 5, where the fourth place finisher would start 20th. And then we come down to the LCQs. Everybody from 5th place on back in each heat will move into 2 different LCQs. And basically, in order to nab the final 2 spots to get in, well, you pretty much got to win in order to get in to the provisional spots here for tomorrow night's clash here at the LA Coliseum. Well, ladies and gents, that's pretty much the whole spiel the deal, if you will. But let's go ahead and go on down into the infield here and meet your starting lineup here for heat number 1. Starting on pole is the number 7. That is Janiah Hill for McGuire Enterprises, the one of 2 cars that will be attempting every race here for the 2025 season. 1 of 14, I should say. And lined up alongside her, that is the number 22, pretty much an OG veteran of the WRLA. That is Alex Bonsinger, number 22. Then, of course, in row number 2, we've got Valkyrie Atikian driving for Trinity River Racing, and then Andrew Miller in the number 96, lining up alongside in the 4th position. Starting 5th is the number 9 of Reagan Whitlock. I'm not sure what's going on in the background, but we're going to eliminate that. And then starting in the 6th position, of course, that is the number 60 of Michael DeFeo. Do want to point out that both of these drivers are WRLA veterans. Of course, with Michael DeFeo, raced full-time for a little while in 2017 before doing some part-time work in 2020 and 2023. Going to continue part-time in 2025. And then we get to row number 4, pair of drivers that are going to be taking part in WRLA competition for the first time ever. That is Chase McClure, car number 52. And then the number 5 machine for Elijah Gordon Incorporated. Brand new colors for EGI. Pretty much a full-on rebrand, as they are going to single-digit numbers and also switching manufacturers to Toyota. So the number 5 iBuyPower Toyota Camry, that is Claire Phillips, going to be taking part in her first WRLA season. And then the provisional starters, 2 other drivers that will be attempting every race here for the 2025 season. That is the number 16 of Kyler Sustry and the number 61 of Travis Crampton. So each heat, I did want to mention, will also be 30 laps. So this is also going to be, these are going to be relatively quick heats. And I do want to apologize in advance because these starts and restarts, especially going into tomorrow night, are going to look a little bit jagged and they will get pretty much strung out. So I do want to apologize in advance there if it does get a little bit annoying. And if the races do look a little bit predictable, but we are getting ready to get the command to fire up the engines here to start off heat number 1, get all the drivers rolling off. That command should be coming up at any given point, but we're ready to go here for heat race number 1.
Say it with me. Drivers, start your...
And there we go. Engines fired. Pace car rolls off. And so will these 10 competitors here in our first heat. Remember, it is the top 4 from each of these heats that will move on into the main event. And this is going to be pretty interesting to see what this is going to look like. Field heads through turns 3 and 4. Looking a little bit staggered back there, but we're ready to go here for heat number 1. Actually, they've just waved off the start. Not sure what's going on here, but hopefully they're able to get this sorted out. That just... I'm not sure what just happened there. That was a very interesting start. Or if you want to call it that, but they're going to wave it off and we're going to get ready to, we're going to try it again here once we get all these drivers lined up. Make sure everybody's in line and ready to go. Actually, they just started. That's actually kind of interesting. So of course, not the kind of start that we were hoping for, but caution out just for the start. So I guess they deemed it official, and even though there really wasn't too much that happened there, that actually was kind of interesting, but kind of a weird start. I've never seen that happen before, but I guess this is the night of firsts here for the WRLA Pepsi Cup Series, and not particularly the way that we were hoping to start off the season, as looks like we're still under yellow. And hopefully we're able to get this sorted out and go racing. Still not sure why everybody's pretty much stopping through the corner entries and also corner exits, but that's actually kind of interesting. Let's see if we get one to go here. And it looks like we do. Lights are out on the pace car. Lights are also out around the racetrack. So we should officially get the green flag to officially get heat number 1 started. Pace car is off. And we're going to, I guess, restart here on lap number 5 or lap 6. And it's Alex Bonsignor who leads the charge. Here we go. And here we go. Yep, there it is. Green flag. And we're, I guess, underway here in heat number 1. A very weird start here to our heats here at the LA Coliseum. That actually was kind of interesting. I never have even seen that before, but again, that's kind of the night of firsts here in the WRLA Pepsi Cup Series. But up front, of course, that's Alex Bonsignor leading the charge. Janiyah Hill sitting in the 2nd position, Andrew Miller 3rd, and then running in 4th and holding onto the final transfer spot to get herself in. That is Valkyrie Atikian in the number 23 machine, outside looking in. That is the number 60 of Michael DeFeo. Now, the benefit for drivers that have to go to the LCQ, if you're sitting in Michael DeFeo's spot, you pretty much will start on pole for the LCQs later on tonight. So for DeFeo, he very well may be in the best seat in the house when it comes down to our LCQs. So it's going to be pretty interesting to see how the rest of this heat turns out as we're rounding on down to it. It'll be 20 to go. Now 19 this time around. Of course, Bonsignor still leading the charge. 0.8 of a second over the number 7 of Janiah Hill. Hill more than likely is going to advance on into tomorrow night's show. And that would leave the number 3 of Bobby McGuire, who is the co-owner of McGuire Enterprises, to possibly race his way in to tomorrow night's clash here at the LA Coliseum. We're approaching halfway here very, very shortly. Now, these heat races are definitely going to blow by here in a hurry. But this is actually going to be a very interesting. I'm gonna say this. I feel like this is going to be a pretty interesting 2025 season, despite the fact that we have the clash, of course, like the heats and the LCQs that are probably not going to be. Well, I mean, as far as the heats go, probably not going to be as eventful as tomorrow night's clash. When it comes down to the action, but the rest of the season, I'm willing to bet you that the 2025 season is definitely going to have a lot of thrills and definitely a good amount of action for sure. Andrew Miller, car number 96, taking part in his sophomore season here in WRLA, driving the number 96 for NS Racing. This is the first of 4 entries that we're going to be seeing throughout the night, of course. This is driving the Loctite colors. Last season ended up taking Madison Tall's spot, what was originally supposed to be Madison Tall's seat, after some behind the scenes stuff that happened. We're not really going to get too much into detail on that, but that's when Andrew Miller came in and definitely filled the seat pretty well. At one point in the early stages of last season was the points leader. But here we are tonight. A little bit a different slate here for NS Racing. Switching back to the Fords, actually, believe it or not, in 2017. They were a Ford camp, the first time around, when WRLA was created and NS Racing came along, they were a Ford team, funny enough. And it's interesting of how things kind of come full circle for the team here for 2025. Race leader Alex Bonsinger still holding on to that 0.8 of a second advantage over Janiah Hill. Bonsinger, another driver who has been around in WRLA since 2017. He once drove a Dodge Dart to victory at Talladega in 2017. Then 2020 switched over to Toyotas. 2023 had a Chevy team, and now here he is, 2025. Driving a Ford. So pretty much, I would say Bonsinger would probably be currently the first and only driver to drive all 4 makes. Pretty much making history here tonight, as he takes 4 laps to go here in heat number 1. Pretty much, you could definitely cement your top 4 right here. Bonsinger, Hill, Andrew Miller, and Valkyrie Atikian all moving on in tomorrow night's main event here in this order. This is where they're pretty much gonna be. 2 laps to go this time by, and this is pretty much looking like it's a done deal here. From 5th place on back, DeFeo, Whitlock, Crampton, Phillips, Sustry, and McClure. They will all have to depend on the LCQs here later on tonight. Final lap here in heat number 1. Bonsinger is going to cruise through the back straightaway and heading through 3 and 4. Bonsinger is going to pick up the win and advance on into tomorrow night's main event, along with Janiah Hill and also the 96 of Andrew Miller, and Valkyrie Atikian holds on to the final transfer spot here in heat number 1 to advance on. And for Michael DeFeo, Reagan Whitlock, Travis Crampton, Phillips, Sustry, McClure, again, they will all have to depend on the LCQs here later on tonight. But that was heat number 1. And this, I mean, that's hopefully the start of the next heat and the upcoming heats. Hopefully those are not as crazy as they were before. Basically the start of heat, the next few heats, I should say. Hopefully they're not as cluttered as what they were. I mean that's the hope. That pretty much is the hope, but we're going to go ahead and we're going to get the starting lineup here for heat number 2 here put together. But we should be back here in just a few short minutes. We're going to get the action here. Well, we're actually going to get the starting lineup pretty much set up here for heat number 2 just a little bit. So do apologize for just the slight little wait. Just want to make sure that we are good to go. And once we get the starting lineup pretty much set up for heat number 2, we'll get back to racing here in just a few short minutes. Alrighty. So now, let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and meet your starting lineup here for heat race number 2. Cars are already out on the track. Should definitely do this as well. But as you see right there, starting on the pole position, that is the number 34, being piloted by Alexander Rowe, one of 2 other All-American Motorsport entries, or should I say American Motorsports, lined up alongside the number 69, that is Russell Blaze, competing in his first ever, getting ready to compete in his first ever outing here in the WRLA Pepsi Cup Series for Durrani Racing. We also have Nikki Fox, who competed in the 2023 season as a part-timer, going to get ready to rack it up and do it again here this season as a part-timer. And then alongside is the number 21 of Roberto Crown Jr., bringing Powerhouse Crown Racing to WRLA, along with Durrani Racing for the first time ever here in WRLA competition. There's Zachary Fitzwater, another one of the NS Racing entries, driving the number 98 PerTech Ford Mustang. And there's Stephen Colon, number 25 in his 3rd season here in WRLA Pepsi Cup competition. In row number 4, there's Caleb Rose driving the number 59 Lenovo Chevy Camaro, bringing Appalachia Motorsports to WRLA for the first time, along with the number 41 of Skylar Taylor. And then completing your starting lineup, that is the number 31 of Eric Monaco, and Josiah Munsell lines up in the caboose here for heat number 2. It's definitely, hopefully we're able to get a better start here for heat number 2 than what we did in heat 1. That was actually a very interesting way to start off our heats and LCQs night. Not really sure why, but hopefully we're able to get this race started under green flag conditions and not yellow, and have basically the start, quote unquote, waved off. But we'll just have to wait and see what happens here. But your top 4, the first 4 cars that have moved on into the main event were, of course, Bonsignor, Janiah Hill, Andrew Miller, and Valkyrie Atiki. And of course, engines have fired once again. Pace car is going to roll off, and so will the next 10 drivers. And hope and pray that we're able to get this race started under green. A pair of rookies. They're going to bring them on down to the green flag here as they come off of turn number 4. That's Alexander Rowe and Russell Blaze that are going to bring them on down. Here we go. Green is in the air. Well, Blaze goes really wide off the corner. That's going to put him up top 3 wide as Nicky Fox goes to the inside with Roberto Crown Jr. in the middle. And Blaze immediately drops from 2nd to 4th in a single lap and probably might fall outside of the top 4. Stephen Colon is on the attack. Already trouble for the 69 of Russell Blaze. Just went way wide through turns 1 and 2 already at the start, and he's losing ground in a hurry. Already has fallen outside of the top 10, or the top 4, I should say. And he's going to lose another position to Zachary Fitzwater in the 98 machine. That was so unfortunate. That was actually really unfortunate to watch there, as it looks like Blaze finally is going to have some breathing room and hopefully he's going to tuck in on the bottom. So far he is, I mean, but definitely overcooking the entry there going through turn 1. Hopefully he doesn't do the same thing in turn 3. Looks like he's just fine there, but Skylar Taylor was the unfortunate soul in that camp. So your top 4 currently goes as follows. The number 64, or the number 34, excuse me, of Alexander Rowe is your race leader. They're running in 2nd. That is Nicky Fox, Roberto Crown Jr. sitting in 3rd, and then Stephen Colon holding on to that final transfer spot in 4th. Zachary Fitzwater currently on the outside looking in, and Russell Blaze finally tucking in the 6th position. That definitely was not something that Blaze was wanting whatsoever, but that unfortunately is the disadvantage of starting on the outside, especially on a flat racetrack like this. There's really no other way to gain or to really gain positions, especially on a flat track like this, but losing positions on a flat track like this is actually relatively easy. So far, Rowe has actually put together a pretty comfortable advantage over the 32 of Nicky Fox. Fox still holding on to the 2nd spot pretty much. 8/10ths back is the 21 of Roberto Crown Jr. Now, Powerhouse Crown Racing, of course, we brought up 2 out of the 3 entries for the 2025 season. Roberto Crown Jr. driving the number 21 Beyblade X machine for his own team, of course, but we got to be running this machine full time, especially for Powerhouse Crown Racing. This is their first outing here in WRLA competition. You can't really see the same here for Stephen Colon, but you can't, I mean, because this is his 3rd season overall. Started competing in WRLA in 2020, driving for the first version of Walker Family Motorsports, not the Walker Family Motorsports that is competing now, but besides that, he drove a number 4 machine for that team and then moved on to rebrand into Cologne Motorsports, driving the number 25. This is the 2nd season overall for Cologne Motorsports, and Stephen Colon as an owner driver, and so far tonight, holding his own, doing a really nice job, sitting in that 4th position, very, very comfortably. Going to transfer on into tomorrow night's main event for Racing Motorsports. Of course, this is their first outing here in WRLA competition with Aaron. This is Aaron Abel's team. We're going to see him later on tonight. But for him, Skylar Taylor. This is also his first. This is also their first outing here in WRLA Pepsi Cup Series Racing, but not really the way that he was really hoping for it to turn out. But he's got the LCQs, and hopefully he can put himself in a good position to hopefully maybe win here later on tonight if he has to transfer on. A little bit of damage to the number 31. That's Eric Monaco, currently holding on to the 8th spot. Just a small little buckle on the Great Clips Camaro, but nonetheless should be okay and should get that repaired before the LCQs later on tonight. 10 laps to go, coming to 9. Of course, Rowe continues to lead the charge, pretty much uncontested for that top position. Then the number 32 of Nicky Fox still holding on. So again, you could pretty much cement the top four, the next four cars that will move on into tomorrow night's main event, I should say. But that was still very unfortunate to watch Russell Blaze start second and then all of a sudden just lose 4 positions and just immediately fall outside of the threshold to lock himself into tomorrow night's main events. And he will definitely have to rely on the LCQs later on tonight and hopefully pray that he can get himself into the show for tomorrow night's Wendy's Clash right here at the LA Coliseum, which will be streamed live on Twitch. Closing in on 4 laps of racing to go here for heat number 2. Of course, it is Rowe still holding on. And there's Caleb Rose in the number 59. Again, for Appalachia Motorsports, this is their first outing here in WRLA, and this is Caleb Rose's first outing here in WRLA competition. We'll see Bruno Di Giacomo in the second Appalachia Motorsports car later on tonight. But so far for Rose himself, it's not looking too bright as far as where he's at. So unfortunately, he's going to have to rely on the LCQs later on tonight. Here we go. Coming off of turn number 4. Final lap for Alexander Rowe. And he definitely more than likely is in the show. I mean, that's pretty much guaranteed. As he comes off of turn number 4, he'll start second here for tomorrow night's main event as he picks up the win with Nikki Fox in second. She'll move on into the show along with Roberto Crown Jr. and Stephen Colon holding on to that final transfer spot to move on into tomorrow night's main event. So now we know the next 4 cars that move on. And now we're getting ready for heat race number 3, which will take place here in just a few short minutes. We're going to go ahead and get that starting lineup here set up. Get the cars out on the track, get the drivers and the teams ready to go.
Drivers to cars.
And we should be underway here with heat number 3 momentarily. Da-da-da. Alrighty. So let's go. Well, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and meet your starting lineup here for heat race number 3. Is there's no cars, as you can see on the as you can see right here. That's actually pretty interesting, but there they are. Let's go ahead and meet your starting lineup here for heat race number 3. As you see on the pole position, there's the number 4 that is being driven by Emily Anderson. This is another one of this is the second out of 4 EGR cars that we're going to be seeing here later tonight. Of course, Wayne Lopez, driving the number 1, is in this heat as well. We'll see him here in just a few short seconds. Lined up alongside is the second Durrani racing car. That is the number 86 of Rogel Dorn. In row number 2, that is the number 18, and are competing in her first official full season in WRLA Pepsi Cup competition. That is the number 18 of Abby Walker. Lined up alongside is the 48, also competing in his first WRLA Pepsi Cup WRLA Pepsi Cup season. I'm pretty much stumbling on my words pretty bad here, but that is the number 48 of Terry Walker. 2 out of the 4 Walker Family Motorsports cars that we're going to see here tonight. Lined up 5th is the number 43. That is Aaron Abel. That is the second Racing Motorsports machine. And then lined up alongside him is the number 97. That is the boss man, the big staple, Nathan Stapleton. He'll be starting in the 6th position. Then, of course, row number 4, there's Val Moscow in the number 33, the third Powerhouse Crown Racing machine, the nationwide colors. And then the number 20, that is Jordan Sumner for Moonstar Enterprises. And then there's the final row right there. That is the number 1 of Wayne Lopez, the third EGI Incorporated entry. And then in the caboose, that is the number 2 of Martin Nixon. As we're getting ready to go here. Oh, that is a little too far. As we're getting ready to go here in heat race number 3, we already know the two groups of cars that will be moving on into tomorrow night's main event. We're getting ready to figure out the next 4 that will move on into tomorrow night's main event. As the engines are fired, pace car rolls off, and so will the next 10 cars, being led by Emily Anderson and Rogel Dorn. So this, as the night goes on, this should get pretty interesting as to how these heats will play out here as we're getting ready to go here in heat race number 3. Green is out, and here we go. Anderson with the advantage. Dorn around the outside is not going to be able to hold on. He'll tuck in second. And then the Walker Family Motorsports cars of Abby and Terry Walker fight side by side for third. And this effectively will put Terry Walker in the bubble spot, officially in the bubble spot, if he's not able to get around Abby Walker, which is going to be the case. Abby's going to hold on to third, which will put Terry Walker in fourth. Here comes Stapleton to the inside for the 4th and final transfer spot. Remember, he's on the outside looking in. He'll need this to get into the show, and he will, without a contest, get by the 48 of Terry Walker. Walker having a similar issue to what Russell Blaze had in the last heat by just getting stuck on the outside line. So now he falls from 4th, what looks to be in that to the 6th position, and that is definitely not what Terry Walker had been wanting whatsoever in this heat. So your top 4 currently looks like this. Of course, Emily Anderson checks out with the top position. Then running in second is the number 86. That is Rogel Dorn. Then third is the 18 of Abby Walker. And Nathan Stapleton, driving the number 97, holds on to the final transfer spot. You know, we were talking about Nathan Stapleton and NS Racing back in the first heat when we were looking at Andrew Miller's machine. But Nathan Stapleton, of course, another OG veteran for WRLA, has been a part of this since 2017. Has 2 wins to his name, of course. In 2017, he won at Martinsville, and then in 2020, he won a fuel mileage race at Fontana. So Stapleton definitely knows how to get the job done in races like these, but especially here in this heat, it's definitely getting the job done when it comes down to getting inside of the threshold to lock himself into tomorrow night's show. As far as Aaron Abel goes, he's currently on the outside looking in. Again, this is the second Racing Motorsports entry that is owned by Aaron Abel himself. So Abel will have to move on into the LCQs. More than likely, he'll end up in heat number 1, LCQ number 1, alongside Terry Walker, who will hold on to that final transfer spot to get in heat number 1. And if looks like if you're Val Moscow, you just very well may be in the best seat in the house for LCQ number 2, because chances are he's going to start on the pole position for LCQ number 2, and that very well may work to his benefit. So for in some cases, you just might have to hope and pray that you're either, if you're not going to advance on, you hope and pray that you're either 5th in heat number 1, which was the case for it was for somebody. I can't quite remember who it was. No, it was Michael DeFeo. DeFeo is going to be on pole for heat number 1. And as far as Val Mosco's case, it very well may work out to his benefit, as he'll more than likely be in heat number 2 or LCQ number 2 later on tonight. But as far as our heats go, of course, everybody currently just running in a single file train. And you could pretty much cement the next 4 cars that will move on into tomorrow night's main event. Emily Anderson still holding on to almost a 9/10 of a second advantage over Rogel Dorn. This is Rogel Dorn's first outing here in WRLA Pepsi Cup competition for Durrani Racing. He had wound up winning a McDonald's Cup Series race, an NRLA McDonald's Cup Series race last season at Kansas. And then from then on, he definitely was on a pretty consistent stride for the rest of 2024. But here we are in 2025. This is pretty much a clean slate for all the teams and all the drivers. So, especially when we throw in this brand new race car in the mix. So, we're in for a pretty interesting and yet kind of mysterious 2025 season, if you will, because we have no idea how this car is going to perform throughout the year. But it should be very, very interesting. Coming around to 7 laps remaining here for heat race number 3. Emily Anderson again continuing to show the way. And then as for drivers like Aaron Abel, Terry Walker, the 33 of Val Mosco, then Martin Nixon, Jordan Sumner, and also the 1 of Wayne Lopez, all of those drivers will have to move on into the LCQs here later on tonight for one last opportunity to try to get into tomorrow night's show. And as far as those LCQs, again, just as a reminder, you have to win those LCQs in order to get into tomorrow night's main event. So a lot of pressure is going to be on all these drivers here once we get down into the LCQs. Coming around to 3 laps of racing to go here in heat race number 3. Emily Anderson pretty much on a cruise right now. If there is drivers that are starting on pole in these next 2 heats, for the next 2 drivers that start on pole for the next 2 heats, of course, they are going to be in very clean and positive strides heading into the main event as the white flag comes out for Emily Anderson. She's going to cruise down the back straightaway one last time, back through turns 3 and 4. 0.8 of a second back is going to be Rogel Dorn as Anderson takes the checkered flag, and we'll move on into the main event along with Rogel Dorn, Abby Walker, and Nathan Stapleton holding on to the final transfer spot here for heat race number 3. And then as for Aaron Abel, Terry Walker, Val Mosco, the 2 of Martin Nixon, and the 20 of Jordan Sumner, as well as the 1 of Wayne Lopez, they will have to move on into tonight's LCQs. But we're getting ready to go here for heat race number 4. We're going to get the cars out on the racetrack, get them put in their designated starting positions, and then we should get heat race number 4 started very, very shortly.
Drivers, to your cars.
So again, another 4 drivers that will make up 12 spots, 12 positions for tomorrow night's clash right here at the LA Coliseum. And again, I'm really glad that you guys could be here for tonight's live coverage of the heats and LCQs here at the LA Coliseum. Again, do apologize if they're not as action packed as what you would have hoped for them to be. It's because it's all right. I mean, I I honestly don't think that they're as action-packed as I would hope for them to be, but you try to make the best out of them, and that's pretty much all you can do. But I can definitely promise that tomorrow night's show is definitely going to be a little bit more chaotic, and it's definitely going to be a very interesting show at that. But here we go. Let's go ahead and meet your starting lineup here for heat race number 4. Of course, you see there on the pole position, that is the number 67 of Andrew Ramsey. This is the first of 3 Lightstar Racing cars that are going to be competing here in the Clash. 2 of them are in this heat. One of them, of course, being Andrew Ramsey, starting on the pole position, competing his 3rd overall WRLA season. Not competing for Rookie of the Year, of course, because he's made at least more than 10 starts in WRLA competition, so he's going without the rookie stripes. Braden Perez returning for Cologne Motorsports in the number 88 machine. We saw Reagan Whitlock in heat number 1, and then Stephen Cologne in the next heat over, and also Chase McClure. So this is the last Cologne Motorsports car that will be competing in the heats for tonight. In row number 2, that is the number 51 machine of Ryan Gondolo, returning for his own team, attempting all the races for the 2025 season. And then there's the number 19 machine, that is Wyatt Walker, the boss man for Walker Family Motorsports. And then lining up in the 5th position, completing the top 5, that is the number 17 of CG Halt. Wound up winning at Kansas, winning the last race before tonight at Kansas Speedway on July 22nd of 2023. And here he is, getting ready to get back at it here in WRLA Pepsi Cup Series Racing. And then starting in 6th, so there's the number 28 of Kyle Craven. And then these are the last 2 entries for American Motorsports. You see him as starting in the caboose. That's Campbell Marshall. We'll get to him in just a little bit. There's Joshua Cornish in the number 89 machine, returning to WRLA Pepsi Cup competition. Going to be attempting all the races throughout 2025, as well as this Clash here at the LA Coliseum. And then there's Ajax Fitzgerald driving the number 92. He also will be attempting every race for 2025. And then there's the provisional starters here for heat number 4. That is Nia Steidel in the number 6, the 4th EGI car in the mix, and the number 38. That is Campbell Marshall. So we are getting ready to go here for heat race number 4. It is going to be This I think is gonna be slightly more interesting, but then again, pretty much all the heats have been very uneventful, to say the least. When it comes down to once all the drivers pretty much get strung out. So tomorrow night's main event, I think, is gonna be a little bit more action-packed when it comes down to it. So the main event might actually be a little bit more entertaining than these heats and LCQs. As field comes off of turn number 4, Andrew Ramsey, Braden Perez going to lead him down to the green flag and get this heat started. They're a little bit stacked up in the back, as Nia Steidel almost got into the back of the number 17 of CG Halt. But Steidel did gain a few positions out of that. She moves up, it looks like, into the 7th position, as up front, Braden Perez already in trouble. Here comes the number 19 of Wyatt Walker to the inside. And Ryan Gondolo in the number 51 right there to follow. Change of positions right here for 6th. That is Steidel trying to take that spot away from CG Halt. And looks like she just very well may get it here, going through turns 3 and 4. Give the 5th position, or the 6th spot, to Steidel across the line officially. Steidel competing in her 2nd WRLA Pepsi Cup season, competing as a sophomore driver, so I feel like this season might treat her just a little bit better than what the previous WRLA season did, and as well as the McDonald's Cup Series last year, where she actually did perform pretty well, but unfortunately the results weren't quite backing up those runs. But here in 2025, that very well could change. He's up front. Andrew Ramsey probably has the largest lead of the night thus far. 1.67 seconds over Wyatt Walker. If this doesn't say that Andrew Ramsey's going to be in the show, I don't know what will. He currently holds on to that top position, 1.6 seconds over Wyatt Walker, who pretty much is also in a zip code of his own as well, as he's checking out from the number 88 of Braden Perez, who sits third, and Kyle Craven holds on to the final transfer spot to move on into tomorrow night's main event. For heat race number 4, Ryan Gondillo outside looking in. He would more than likely have to rely on the LCQs here later on tonight. And then there's Steidel in the 6. She would more than likely have to move on into the LCQs, along with the number 17 of CG Holt, then Joshua Cornish, then Ajax Fitzgerald, and Campbell Marshall, who started shotgun on the field, still shotgun as of right now. 19 to go here at heat race number 4. You know, it's actually pretty interesting to see the progression of, you know, Andrew Ramsey's Pepsi Cup Series career. Of course, in 2020, he was competing part-time. You know, he drove a number 52 machine, which was originally piloted by John Andrews. But he wound up getting a win at Pocono, ended up stealing it away from Betty Johnson, a former Pepsi Cup Series driver in her own right, when Daniel Voiles Racing was still competing in WRLA at the time. But as far as Andrew Ramsey goes, he wound up stealing a win away at Pocono back in 2020 in a very fantastic finish. And then pretty much from then on, you know, went on to start his own team in 2023, you know, with Michael Ramsey on board. And from then on, Andrew pretty much went on to pretty much sort of rebrand the team, grow it just a little bit, get a few sponsorship deals lined up, and here he is, getting his team ready to go here for 2025, you know, with him and Jerry Rose, which we're going to see him in the next heat, in our last heat for the night. But as far as that goes, you know, for Lightstar Racing Co., they've definitely done a great job with we're kind of reorganizing their program, you know, kind of just loosening up the tight ends, if you will. And so far tonight, it's paying some pretty big dividends as Ramsey still holds on to that 1.6 second advantage, now 1.7 seconds over Wyatt Walker, who, again, you know, pretty much is going to make it onto the show regardless of what happens. So 10 to go, or coming up to 10 to go next time around. So everybody kind of just minding their own P's and Q's. And you know, so far this is kind of like a practice run, if you will. You know, everybody's not really doing too much on the track, but I can definitely assure you, once we get down into tomorrow night's main event, it is definitely going to be a little bit more chaotic than what it is right now. 9 to go here in heat race number 4. You know, it's actually really interesting. I mean, I don't even know what to say anymore, but there's Kyle Craven in the number 28 machine competing for American Motorsports. American Motorsports has been a part of WRLA since 2020 with a 3-car operation of their own. Of course, they had the number 32 machine, a 34, and the 38. 32, actually, no, I think it was 32 was piloted by Derek Edison. 34 was piloted by Al Lagasse, and then the number 38 was piloted by Jack Lagasse. All American Motorsports definitely had themselves a really good first outing in 2020, managed to win a good amount of races. Of course, Jack Lagasse winning the most out of the organization, winding up winning at, I want to say, Charlotte, and then they won... I can't quite remember the next track that they won it. I think they wound up winning... Well, they won Bristol with Al Lagasse. But I'm having trouble remembering where Jack Lagasse won his first race at. I think if memory serves me right, it probably might have been Martinsville. I might have to go back and fact check myself there. But They since then downsized to 2 cars and performed still pretty decent, you know, amongst Al and Jack Legacy. But here we are, 2025. Back to 3 cars, a whole new driver lineup, and hoping for positive strides here in 2025. Same can be said here for Andrew Ramsey as he comes off the back straightaway one last time through turns 3 and 4. Lightstar Racing Co. Good to see the checkered flag with Andrew Ramsey himself moving on into the main event alongside Wyatt Walker, Braden Perez, and Kyle Craven holding on to the final transfer spot here for heat race number 4. As for Ryan Gundillo, Nia Steidel, CG Holt, Joshua Cornish, Ajax Fitzgerald, and as well as the 38 of Campbell Marshall, they will all have to move on into the LCQs later on tonight, which will take place after this upcoming heat, our 5th and final heat of the night here at the LA Coliseum. That is coming your way here in just a few short minutes. We're going to get the starting lineup pretty much set up for that, and then we will get ready to go at it again here in just a few short minutes. And here, maybe just a minute, actually. So now the field has increased, of course, to 16 cars. We already know the next 4 drivers that will be moving on. And now we have to figure out who are going to be the final 4 drivers that will be moving on through the heats here tonight at the LA Coliseum. It is now down to the next 4 drivers, and then from then on, we'll be going over into our LCQs for tonight. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore, but you know, it is what it is. I guess that's how the ball rolls, you know, for my brain. So do want to kind of apologize there, but you know, it is what it is. It happens. But we're getting ready to go yet again here for heat race number 5. Get ready to go here for heat race number 5. Let's go ahead, and cars are disappeared yet again. Here we go. Let's go ahead and meet your starting lineup for our 5th and final heat of the night. Of course, lining up on the pole position, he is a Pepsi Cup Series winner in his own right. This is the number 07 of Tanner Parton. Wound up winning at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park for Otter Island Motorsports. Unfortunately, that team is not returning to WRLA, at least for this year. And then lined up alongside, that is the number 04 machine. A familiar face, but in a new place for Durrani Racing. That is Quinton Moore in the number 04 machine. Going to be competing full-time in WRLA competition for Durrani Racing, the only veteran on that team, if I may say. Here's another driver for Moonlight and for Moonlight Enterprises. This is the number 54 that will be competing on a full-time basis here for 2025. This is Sebastian Vaughn driving the number 54 Monster Energy Ford Mustang. And there's the number 3 machine. That is Bobby McGuire. His girlfriend Janiyah Hill wound up moving on into the main event early on tonight. Now we're going to get ready to see if Bobby McGuire is going to be able to do the exact same thing that Janiyah was able to do and transfer on into tomorrow night's main event. We're going to find that out here in just a few short minutes. There's Zachary Taylor in the number 85 machine for his own team, Taylor Motorsports. No relation to Skylar Taylor. Just want to clarify that. But Zachary Taylor, a winner in his own right back at Michigan in 2023. Going to get ready to go here for heat race number 5. There's Bruno DiGiacomo in the number 95 machine for Appalachia Motorsports. And then there's Jerry Rose, 00 machine for Lightstar Racing Co. Jerry Rose, another driver for Andrew Ramsey's team, getting ready to go here for heat race number 5, starting in the 7th position. There's Noah Clifton in the number 99, another multi-time winner here for NS Racing. This is the 4th entry for the camp, of course. Clifton wound up winning at Rockingham in 2020, and then on the dirt at Bristol in 2023. And then there's the provisional starters, the number 45 machine for Trinity River Racing. That is Ray Atikian in the number 45 Viagra Colors, and Ryan Little in the number 27. So how about that here for Little Racing? Starting first and last here for both of those cars. So it's actually pretty interesting here, to say the least here, as we're getting ready to go here for our fifth and final heat of the night before the LCQs. Engines are fired, of course. Pace car is going to roll off, and so will these next 10 competitors that are going to be led down to the green flag by Tanner Parton and Quentin Moore. Pace car does pull off on pit road, and we are set to go for our fifth and final heat of the night. Getting ready to take the green flag here. There we go. Tanner Parton brings him down, and Quentin Moore already glued up to the outside line. That's going to leave the door wide open for Bobby McGuire to drive to the inside and take that second position away. No contest there. McGuire moves on into second, and Quentin Moore still hasn't found any sort of breathing room. He's stuck on the outside, and that's going to allow Sebastian Vaughn to move up into the third position, and hopefully Moore will have some breathing room here. And finally, Quentin Moore is able to make some peace where he's at right now and tuck in that fourth position. He just overshot the entry going through turn 3. Actually got a little bit loose there. And here comes Bruno De Giacomo to his inside. And De Giacomo trying to put Appalachia Motorsports in the show. Caleb Rose is in the LCQ later on tonight. And De Giacomo has now taken the fourth and final transfer spot away. Here comes Zachary Taylor in the 85 underneath of Quentin Moore. So this problem, more than likely, is going to kick Moore back into the sixth position, maybe seventh here, as Jerry Hill works his way to the inside. So a very troublesome start here for Quentin Moore. He is the third driver tonight that we've seen get himself a really good starting position in the heats, and then absolutely struggle on the outside line, at least struggle for grip and struggle to hold his line. We saw Russell Blaze do that in heat number 2, and then we saw a few other drivers do that in the previous heats. But now Quentin Moore, oh man, I thought he was going to have finally some time to breathe, but he's got Ryan Little to his inside. And now Noah Clifton in the 99, and unfortunately, I think this is where Quentin Moore's finally going to be able to breathe and, you know, at least regroup, because now he has been relegated from second all the way down to 10th place. That is not what Quentin Moore wanted whatsoever, and Quentin Moore is already in trouble. That is just very, very unfortunate. Out of all the drivers that we've seen get stuck around the outside line, Moore has definitely struggled the worst out of all of them, and he gets relegated all the way back to 10th place here in this heat. Almost halfway through, of course, top 4 looks like this. It is Tanner Parton who shows the way, with Bobby McGuire sitting in the second position. Then third is the number 54 of Sebastian Vaughn, and then Bruno De Giacomo holds on to that fourth and final transfer spot. Now, if you have noticed, the backs of some of these cars have the red stripes, opposed to some of the yellow stripes that the rookies are running. The red stripes signify the drivers that are attempting all the races. So those are the drivers that are part-time essentially and are attempting all the races for 2025. We saw some of those stripes on Janiah Hill's car, for instance. We saw them on Nikki Fox's car, and also you might have noticed them on Ray Atikian's car if you might have gotten a good look. But Bobby McGuire is another one of those drivers that has those red stripes on his racing machine. Halfway home, here in heat race number 5. And pretty much everything has simmered down to a single file formation. There's Rayatikian, number 45. Interestingly enough, when WRLA had a special event at Talladega, Rayatikian, I think it might have been a McDonald's Series race in 2017 at Talladega Superspeedway. Rayatikian actually was entered in that race, and he wound up winning it. Ironically enough, he was driving a number 97 machine, which is pretty interesting, but here we are, at least 7 to 8 years later. He ran full-time in the Pepsi Cup Series in 2023 for EGI, now moves over to Trinity River Racing on a more relaxed, on a slightly more relaxed schedule. Of course, he'll be attempting all the races, of course, obviously, but he'll have some. There will be some races where, of course, Atikian is probably not going to be able to make, but he will be racing on a part-time basis, so probably makes it just a little bit more easier for Rayatikian to sit back, relax, and enjoy some life, but also get some racing in at the same time. Get a little bit more time behind the wheel, if you will. So we're inside of 10 laps to go, coming around for 7 to go. Parton just took that across the stripe. And he still shows the way, now just about 0.8 of a second between him and McGuire. Now, how about that there for the McGuire Enterprises team? Of course, remember Janiyah Hill wound up finishing second in her heat. That allowed her to transfer on into the main event. And here we are in heat race number 5. Pretty much a similar scenario here with Bobby McGuire as he sits second in this heat. And if it plays out the way that it does here for the next 4 laps, he will transfer on into the tomorrow night's main event. We're down to it. 3 to go this time by, with Parton leading the charge. Sebastian Vaughn in the number 54 machine, of course, for Moonlight Enterprises. We saw Jordan Sumner in the number 20 machine back in heat race number 3. Unfortunately, she will have to rely on the LCQs, but for Vaughn, he won't have to worry about it because of where he's at. Again, top 4 do move on into the main event later on tomorrow night. White flag goes in the air for Tanner Parton as they cruise on down the back straightaway through turns 3 and 4. Tanner Parton is going to pick up the win, and we'll move on into tomorrow night's main event alongside Bobby McGuire, Sebastian Vaughn, and Bruno Di Giacomo, putting Appalachia Motorsports in the show by holding on to the final transfer spot. Now, as for drivers such as Zachary Taylor, for drivers such as Zachary Taylor, Jerry Rose, Rayatikian, Ryan Little, Noah Clifton, and Quentin Moore, they will all have to rely on the LCQs here tonight, which are coming up here in just a few short minutes. So stick around, ladies and gents. We're going to get the starting lineup. We're going to get the cars rolled out and put in their designated starting positions, and we'll get ready for tonight's LCQs from right here at the LA Coliseum. Don't go away. We'll be back in just a few minutes.
you want to watch a stream, you have to be ad-free because he gives you like 3 in a hour or minute. Please just do what he wants and he will give you the victory royale because he is very good at Fortnite. Not really, I'm just kidding. Yeah, he is really good at Fortnite. Yeah, he is good at Fortnite. If you want to watch a stream, you have to be ad-free because he gives you like 3 in a hour or minute. Please just do what he wants and he will give you the victory royale because he is very good at Fortnite. Not really, I'm just kidding. Yeah, he is really good at Fortnite. Yeah, he is good at Fortnite. you want to watch a stream, you have to be ad-free because he gives you like 3 in an hour or minute, please. Just do what he wants and he will give you the victory royale because he is very good at Fortnite. Not really, I'm just kidding. Yeah, he is really good at Fortnite. Yeah, he is good at Fortnite.
Drivers, to you.
We're back, ladies and gentlemen, and this time it is to get ready for the LCQs. Starting off with LCQ number 1. Now remember, these LCQs are 45 laps, and in order to advance on into tomorrow night's main event, you have to win your respective LCQs in order to transfer on into tomorrow night's main event. So starting off here with the starting grid, of course, we have the number 60 machine that is piloted by Michael DeFeo. He starts on pole here for LCQ number 1. Then starting second, that is Reagan Whitlock in the number 9 machine. There's Travis Crampton in the number 61, lining up alongside the 5 of Claire Phillips here in row number 2. Row 3 sees the number 16 machine of Kyler Sustry lined up alongside Chase McClure in the third row. Row number 4 sees Zachary Fitzwater and Russell Blaze in the number 69 machine. Completing your top 10, that is the number 41, of Skylar Taylor, and as well as the number 31 of Eric Monaco. Row number 6 sees the number 26 of Josiah Munsell and also Caleb Rose. Row number 7 sees the 43 of Aaron Abel, as well as the 48 of Terry Walker. And finally, in the caboose, that is the number 33 of Val Moscow here for our 15-car field for LCQ number 1. Again, 45 laps to distance. This should be a pretty interesting heat race number 2. So the field does roll off. And we're getting ready to go here for our second heat of the night, or our first LCQ of the night. 45 laps to distance, so a little bit more time, but with a lot more at stake. Field comes off of turn number 4. Field takes the green with Michael DeFeo on the charge. Reagan Whitlock is going to slip back a little bit. That allows Claire Phillips to drive up into the second position. A little bit of trouble there for the 61 of Travis Crampton. He falls into the clutches of Chase McClure, who's chasing him down for 4th. Manages to get it coming off of turn number 2. But Crampton, again, basically messes up the entry to turn 3, and that will keep him up on the outside line here with Kyler Sustry on the attack coming off of turn number 2. So here's a look overhead of all these competitors. Of course, Phillips breaks out into second with Michael DeFeo pretty much in the top position, holding on to the lead by a little over a second, and this is exactly what DeFeo needed. He needed himself to get himself a really good start off here to this race, and that's exactly what he got. The Morton Buildings machine currently out front by just a tad over a second on the number 5 machine of Phillips. Remember, it is pretty much win and you are in to tomorrow night's main event right here at the LA Coliseum. So far, 6 laps complete. And there is a chance that we could catch up to the lap. DeFeo could still catch up to the tail end of these cars right here and put him a lap down if he's able to do it, which that would make things a little bit interesting to say the least. But so far, nonetheless, actually that might be the case here. He's caught up to the back end of this pack here with Caleb Rose now shoved back into the provisional spot here for this LCQ. Here comes DeFeo to the inside on the number 59 of Caleb Rose. to put him 1 lap down. And if that's the case, that could open up the door for the 5 of Claire Phillips to probably steal the lead here. If the number 60 gets a little bit too slowed up, I mean, it is a possibility. I wouldn't quite rule that out, but we'll just have to wait and see what happens. Phillips does get by the number 59 machine of Rose as DeFeo continues to check out just a little bit slightly. Oh man, also, I just noticed there, DeFeo kind of ran the middle line there through turns 3 and 4, and that really didn't pay him, that really didn't help him at all. Now, Claire Phillips has got her hands full with Caleb Rose trying to get to her inside. This is not what she needs if she wants to have any sort of chance at catching up to Michael DeFeo. DeFeo continuing to put laps on some of these guys. He just put Eric Monaco 1 lap down. But that was the thing that DeFeo needed to see in his rearview mirror. In fact, that's something that he probably wanted to see in his rearview mirror, just to see Claire Phillips get her hands pretty much tied up with other cars that are trying to pass her that get to her inside. McClure now moves up into the 2nd position, and Reagan Whitlock is now going to be on the charge here as she goes to the inside of Phillips for 3rd. This will move Travis Crampton up into the mix. In the number 61 machine, he'll move up into 4th. But remember, it's you win in order to get into the main event. So pretty much the 2 drivers that win the LCQs will get the the final 2 spots that will make up the field for tomorrow night's clash right here at the LA Coliseum. So this is definitely going to be, I mean, so far these LCQs have definitely been a little bit more entertaining than the heats were, if I'm being really honest with you. But just think, with 22 cars on track, that's going to be a little bit more interesting to say the least. But there's the 60, Michael DeFeo with 20 laps complete, coming around to complete lap 21. He currently has a 3-second advantage over Chase McClure, and that's all because of this lap traffic and the opening that he was able to pretty much make because of this slower traffic, which, I mean, if I'm being honest with you, that has definitely changed up the game by just, I mean, it's a pretty clear difference. I mean, just look at how far away DeFeo is from 2nd place Chase McClure. Like, let's just give you a good visual, just as exactly how far away DeFeo's been able to pull away. So here he is. That's going through turn 4. There's McClure right there. So just as Michael DeFeo is just pretty much exiting the back straightaway, McClure is already halfway down, and he actually just picked up at least 6/10 of a second on Michael DeFeo here with less than 20 laps to go. DeFeo continuing to run the outside line. That is actually not a good thing. That's something that DeFeo did not want to see whatsoever, and that's allowing McClure to close in. Oh boy, that could be absolutely troublesome here for Michael DeFeo as he continues to remain stuck on that outside. And now here comes Chase McClure to the inside. He's got him right where he wants him, and he's going to go to the lead, maybe heading through 3 and 4. He's got it right there. McClure takes the top position away from Michael DeFeo, but DeFeo trying to fight back on the outside. Not going to be any sort of contest whatever. Chase McClure clears Michael DeFeo. DeFeo might try to put the crossover on him. Isn't quite to the back bumper of that number 6 of that number 52 machine, as DeFeo now is in trouble as he falls outside of that transfer spot to get him into tomorrow night's main event. 15 laps of racing to go here in LCQ number 1. as Chase McClure takes the lead away from Michael DeFeo, who runs now in the second position. Reagan Whitlock is now third, with Travis Crampton fourth and Zachary Fitzwater completing the top five. And Fitzy now gets trapped on the outside. Here comes the 69 of Russell Blaze to the inside. That's the battle for fifth. Blaze just very well may take it away from Fitzy here, going through turn 3. And he does right here. Meanwhile, up at the front of the field, so far, McClure has not had any sort of issue whatsoever with maintaining his line, especially when it came down to the slower traffic, managing to get around DeFeo when he was in the front top position at the time. But so far, we haven't had any more issues with slower traffic. I mean, up over here, further up on the pack, this is the 16 of Sustry and Terry Walker 48 going at it here. It looks like that is for the 13th position, or for the 12th spot rather. And Walker is going to take that away from Sustry. Less than 10 laps of racing to go here in LCQ number 1. Chase McClure holding on to the transfer spot, to the first of 2 final transfer positions that will move him, that will pretty much guarantee himself a provisional in tomorrow night's main event here at the LA Coliseum. DeFeo now under attack from Reagan Whitlock for the second position. This is absolutely heartbreaking if you're Michael DeFeo. You pretty much dominate the LCQ after starting on pole, and then all of a sudden you run into lap traffic. Oh man, Crampton just went really wide through turns 3 and 4. Definitely not what he needed whatsoever, but isn't going to really lose any sort of positions whatsoever, other than getting passed here by the 59 of Caleb Rose, who is sitting 1 lap down, currently the only driver 1 lap down. But if you're Michael DeFeo, again, heartbreaking after starting on pole here for this LCQ, pretty much dominating it, and then getting up to lap traffic, and the lap traffic ended up getting around DeFeo, which pretty much opened up the door for Chase McClure to chase him down, get around him for the race lead, and is pretty much going to check out and run away with this one. 2 laps of racing to go here in LCQ number 1. It's Cologne Motorsports cars running first and second, but only one of them will transfer on as we come down to the white flag. 1 lap to go here for Chase McClure. McClure runs a bit of a higher line. That might open up the door for Reagan Whitlock, but maybe out of time here. Checkered flag is out here at LCQ number 1. It's Chase McClure who moves on into tomorrow night's main event, and he will start 21st in the main event tomorrow night. As for everybody else, they put forth their best effort, and unfortunately they will have to watch the race from the grandstands. Such a heartbreaker, though, especially for Michael DeFeo. I mean, even, you know, he finished 5th, which put him in the best seat in the house. Unfortunately, was not able to make it stick there in the right around the halfway point / closing laps of the event, and that's the thing that's that knocked him out there, especially with the lap traffic coming into play, and especially that being a huge game changer. That just really put him in a bad spot. But now we're getting ready for our second and final LCQ of the night, ladies and gentlemen. This is going to be probably, in my opinion, just as entertaining as the previous LCQ was. You know, especially when you have more than 10 cars on the racetrack, and on top of that, you know, you've got drivers that are literally fighting to try to either stay on the lead lap or try to hold on to that race lead, you know, and that's definitely going to be something to watch out for, especially in this LCQ. where again, there's one spot left up for grabs, and that is going to come from first place here in this LCQ. So you might not want to go to a different video or a different stream, because this is actually going to be a pretty interesting race to determine who is going to be the last driver that moves on into tomorrow night's main event. This is going to be interesting. Just going to make sure that we get the final 5 to 6 spots correct here before we get these cars rolling. And other than that, I do believe we should be good. All right. We should be good to go here for our second and final LCQ of the evening, ladies and gentlemen. It has been absolutely fun. But now it's time to settle it. Who's going to be the final driver that moves on into tomorrow night's main event? And here's your starting lineup that pretty much for the second and final LCQ of the night. Of course, it is the number 2 of Martin Nixon starting on the pole position. Jordan Sumner starting in the second spot. In row number 2, you see Wayne Lopez in the number 1 machine. There's Ryan Gondillo lining up on the outside in row number 2. Row 3 sees Nia Steidel in the number 6, lining up alongside the 17 of CG Holt. Row 4 sees Joshua Cornish lining up alongside Ajax Fitzgerald. Row 5, Campbell Marshall and the number 85 of Zachary Taylor. Row 6 sees Jerry Rose and also the 45 of Ray Atikian. Row 7, Ryan Little for Vision Motorsports. So I did get the name of the team incorrect, so I do apologize. This is Vision Motorsports for Ryan and Little and Tanner Parton, but Ryan Little competing in our second LCQ of the night alongside Noah Clifton, and Quentin Moore has the provisional start for this LCQ. So again, one more spot up for grabs, and it's all going to come down to the wire here for LCQ number 2. The final 15 drivers roll off on the track. Pace car is going to dart down the pit road. 45 laps to decide it. Could it be Nixon? Could it be Sumner? Could it be Lopez? Could it be Condillo? It could even be Nia Steidel. We're just going to have to find out here. Green flag is going to fly, and we're underway here for LCQ number 2. Nixon holding on to that top position. Sumner is going to tuck in that second position. Fight is on for third between Lopez and Gondillo, as Gondillo is going to be trapped up on the outside groove, and Wayne Lopez, no contest there, going to clear the 51 for the third position. CG Halt messing up the entry to turn number 3. That's going to hinder his progress to try to get up towards the front of the field, as now he loses the 6th, maybe even the 7th position, or the 5th, now 6th position to the 89 of Joshua Cornish. Steidel also messed up the entry through turn 3 as well, went up a little bit higher than what she wanted, as she currently holds on to that 5th position. Right now, Martin Nixon holding on to the top position as of right now. He is the driver that would transfer on and pick up that final transfer spot for tomorrow night's main event if he stays exactly where he's at. As they come around through turns 1 and 2, Sumner holding on to the 2nd position. Sebastian Vaughn, of course, for Moonstar Enterprises will race in tomorrow night's main events. Again, with Sebastian Vaughn, but could Jordan Sumner add her name into the field for tomorrow night's roster? So many unknowns coming in here to tonight's race that could determine, tomorrow night's unknowns, for tomorrow. That will be streamed live on Twitch. Be sure to check your Amazon Primes and make sure you have a Prime sub where you can actually subscribe for free. So that way you can watch WRLA Pepsi Cup Series Racing or any other stream that is done over on the Twitch channel commercial free for 1 month. Nixon catching up to the tail end of this pack with Noah Clifton at the tail end. Gonna try to put him 1 lap down, as now there's a little bit more fighting going on. Just a little bit further up ahead, that's Quentin Moore in the 04 machine, and also the 45 of Ray Atikian. Oh, Nixon is up on the outside. Here comes Jordan Sumner to the inside to take the lead away, and the transfer position. Oh my goodness, that is huge there. As Nixon loses the top position, here comes Wayne Lopez to try to take that second spot away. He's going to do it. Actually, he's going to try to. Pulls up alongside. And he's going to take the position away. Move Lopez up to second. As now DeFeo's in trouble. He's trapped on the outside. Or no, that's Nixon, excuse me. Nixon's in trouble. He might lose the third position to Ryan Gundillo here, but huge trouble for the number 2 of Martin Nixon, similar to what happened to Michael DeFeo in the last LCQ. This was the thing that ultimately knocked him out, and it could also knock out the 2 of Nixon. But right now, Jordan Sumner holds on to the lead by 1.5 seconds over Wayne Lopez. My, oh my. That was absolutely just insane of what we just witnessed. But also very unfortunate at the same time. Very unfortunate there for Martin Nixon, as he was leading the way. Unfortunately, slipped up through turn number 3 that opened up the door for Jordan Sumner to drive around the number 2 machine to take the lead. And Jordan Sumner, depending on how these next 26 laps play out, will more than likely win this race and will transfer on into tomorrow night's main event, the Wendy's Clash, right here at the LA Coliseum. That is going to be huge, I say. Just huge. $24 laps of racing to go here. A little bit more action going up just a little bit further up in the field. That is the number 27 of Ryan Little getting around the 92 of Ajax Fitzgerald. Move him up into the 10th position. Quentin Moore now slipped up. Oh, almost for the most part. I thought he would have gone around the outside. Zachary Taylor slips up. He goes way wide through the corner. That will allow Noah Clifton to get to the inside, or will he? Quentin Moore's going to have no trouble getting around the 85 machine, but looks like Taylor's pretty committed to that outside line as he runs the middle groove, but it's not going to quite benefit him there, as there goes the 99 of Noah Clifton to the inside. Jordan Sumner almost. Actually, he's going to make the move down to the bottom to try to get around Zachary Taylor, and that is exactly going to be the case right there. Now, you better hope and pray, if you're Jordan Sumner, that you don't make the same mistake that Martin Nixon made, and as well as Michael DeFeo before him made, you know, especially through turns 3 and 4, absolutely messing up the entry there and allowing the runner-up driver to take the race lead away. So far, Sumner has definitely learned from that mistake, and so far is not repeating it. Managed to get around Zachary Taylor in pretty clean fashion, and is able to grow that lead once again. Ryan Gundillo slips up there through 3 and 4. That is going to allow Nixon to take third away. So Martin Nixon trying to make up the ground that he wound up losing back on lap 17. 16 coming up to 15 laps of racing to go here in LCQ number 2. Gundillo very much so in trouble, as he's still stuck up on the outside groove. But meanwhile, up at the front of the field, again, Jordan Sumner has managed to hold on to this top position ever since taking it away from Martin Nixon, who has made up a little bit of ground. He's already moved up into the third position, just now 3 seconds back from the one of Wayne Lopez, who holds on to second. But again, that first place position that Jordan Sumner currently holds on to is the spot that matters, because that is the final transfer spot to get into tomorrow night's clash right here at the LA Coliseum. And dare I say, that's going to be, with 22 cars on track, I feel like that race is going to be probably the most entertaining race of the night. We're going to go racing for 150 laps around the LA Coliseum. Sumner goes way wide through 3 and 4. That allows Lopez to draw a little bit closer. Now 7/10 separate the 20 and the 1 machine. As we're inside 10 to go, Sumner goes up the track. Here comes Lopez to the inside, side by side for the top position. Across the stripe, Sumner was able to lead that lap, but just barely. Lopez down on the inside through 3 and 4. Give the race lead over to Wayne Lopez, as we're now down to 7 laps to go. Or 8 to go, coming to 7 to go this time by. Oh my goodness. Yet again, the race lead has been taken away. And this time it is Wayne Lopez that now holds on to the final transfer position. Sumner gets kicked back to second. Nixon gonna try to go after her for the second position. Cornish fourth, Steidel fifth right now. But again, that first place is the spot that matters. 5 laps to go here in our second LCQ of the night. My, oh my. The plot to this LCQ has thickened dramatically, with Wayne Lopez now opening up a 2.5 second advantage over Jordan Sumner, who is actually in a zip code of her own for a little while before slipping up the entries into turn 1 as well as turn 3. And that pretty much is going to be all she wrote there for Jordan Sumner's hopes of putting both Moonstar cars, Moonlight cars, into the Clash main event. 2 laps to go. And Wayne Lopez is in a very good position to just cruise on into the final, cruise on into tomorrow night's main event, as he just took the white flag as he cruises through 3 and 4 this time by. Wayne Lopez will nab the final transfer spot and will complete the field for tomorrow night's clash right here at the LA Coliseum. What a race here, and what a fight to try to make the main event. All these drivers, you definitely got to give them props. They definitely tried their best. They put it all out there. And unfortunately for them, it just didn't quite work out, and they will have to sit this one out and watch this race from the grandstands and get their cars ready for Daytona 500 pole qualifying in just a week and a half time. But what a race. This is some really good action all the way around. And the field is pretty much set for the clash right here at the LA Coliseum. So, of course, you know, for advancing on, just to recap, advancing on from heat number 1, we have Alex Bonsignor, Janiah Hill, and these are the field, and this is the field, by the way, that will make up the clash right here at the LA Coliseum. But I'm going by the drivers that had pretty much advanced on in the order that they did. So, of course, from advancing on from heat number 1, we have Alex Bonsignor, Janiah Hill, Andrew Miller, and as well as Valky Rayatikian. Advancing on from heat number 2, we have Alexander Rowe, The 32 of Nikki Fox, Roberto Crown Jr., and Stephen Colon. Advancing from heat number 3, Emily Anderson, Rogel Dorn, Abby Walker, and Nathan Stapleton. From heat 4, Andrew Ramsey, Wyatt Walker, Braden Perez, and the 28 of Kyle Craven. And advancing on from heat number 5, we have Tanner Parton, Bobby Maguire, Sebastian Vaughn, and Bruno Di Giacomo. And then our LCQ winners, Chase McClure and now Wayne Lopez. That is the field that will make up the 22-car roster for the 2025 Wendy's Clash from right here at the LA Coliseum. Want to thank you guys a lot for watching the heats and LCQs from right here at the LA Coliseum. And coming up tomorrow will be the main event, the Wendy's Clash from right here in LA. At 7 p.m. Eastern time, which will be streamed right on Twitch, and pretty much the full race replay will be posted the next day on YouTube. Again, I want to thank you guys a lot for watching. If you're brand new, be sure to hit that like button, and if you haven't considered subscribing yet, I would highly recommend that you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss fine content that comes out in the near future. And that pretty much is going to do it from right here in LA. I'm Elijah Leonard signing out. And we'll see you guys tomorrow night for the WRLA Pepsi Cup Series Wendy's Clash from right here at the LA Coliseum.